Dianna Russini, who works for The Athletic, did a couple of podcasts yesterday. She did her own Scoop City for The Athletic. She was also on the Dan Le Batard show, and she mentioned on both platforms that she believes the Browns will take a quarterback at number 2 regardless. Here's the clip from the Dan Le Batard show of her giving some reasoning behind why she believes this is the eventuality for the Browns.
So they're either taking Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, right?
Yeah, they're going quarterback. Guys, they see what we see. This is not a mystery. This is not like they're psyched about DeShaun Watson's ability, leadership, play. They know this isn't great, but they've also have no way out of this. So they've got to sort of just barrel through, and it's almost like they're constructing their team as if DeShaun Watson isn't a part of it, right? They've got to move forward here and find the answer, because I do think the fan base will forgive if they hit on a quarterback and this young guy comes out and, let's just say, beats DeShaun in camp, and the Browns head to the playoffs next year with a rookie quarterback. I think there will be some forgiveness.
So, Dustin, smoke screen, or you think there's some truth behind what Dianna Russini is saying?
I mean, I think that it's pretty obvious the Browns need a quarterback, and if they're trying to get things turned around, sooner rather than later, they would be looking to take one at number 2. The question is, do they love one of these guys? I don't know that they do. I don't know that these guys are talking about Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders specifically.
Yeah.
Are either one of those guys worthy of the number 2 pick in the draft? Man, it is way too early to tell. At least for me. I mean, we're although it's going to be here before you know it. I know that.
Senior Bowl.
But yeah, I want to see how things progress through the rest of the offseason here going into the draft. But as it looks right now, yeah, they're taking a quarterback.
Yeah, I think, because I said it before, I think I'm a flip-flop 17 times on this. I don't think you can flip-flop when you're talking about draft, because there's going to be a Senior Bowl, there's going to be pro days, there's going to be individual workouts, there's going to be the combine, there's going to be a bunch of different information that you're going to get that's going to give you pause on some people, and it's going to get you excited about taking some people. So, I think right now the obvious elephant in the room is you need a quarterback, but it all comes down to this: what do the people picking the quarterback think about the guys? If they like them, or matter of, hold on, let me stop saying that. It all depends on what the owner feels about the quarterback, because is excitable as I am or anybody else is. We've seen Jimmy Haslam be like, give me I need Johnny Manziel, give me Manziel. We've seen him just be like, yeah, give me that guy.
Yeah.
So if the owner gets behind it and he likes the quarterback, you're up for a long uphill battle trying to get him not to take the quarterback because he knows he needs one.
Yeah. By the way, a couple of things. First of all, and I'm going to say a couple of things I probably shouldn't say, but that's me. What are you going to do? She does a podcast with Chase Daniel. He's awful. I mean, he has no clue what's going on. I know listen, the guy played in the NFL.
What makes you say that?
Mike says he does quarterback breakdowns. I'm sure they're fantastic because he knows the position. But in terms of knowing what's going on around the league, he's clueless. She was saying this to him. First of all, what she's saying is completely obvious. Everybody knows the Browns need a quarterback. I think everybody knows.
Yeah.
But she was saying that as if that was some sort of breaking news that the Browns need a quarterback. But maybe she's saying it that way because there's a lot of people nationally that don't realize that.
I may have missed this last week.
Yeah.
I was international, but I mean, didn't Jeremy Fowler suggest that the Browns could be bringing Watson back? Did I miss that? Or
he kind of alluded to it.
He's going to be on the roster because they can't cut him.
Because they can't cut him.
But he's not in the conversation. First of all, DeShaun Watson had a setback. I texted my
your source?
I'll say who I texted. I texted my doctor.
Oh, okay.
Not our guy, Dr. Zanotti, who did the surgery on my Achilles and who you know very well, obviously. But my physical therapist, who's great, and I was like, what kind of setback can you have on an Achilles? What? He's like, the only thing I can think of is that he tore it again. That's what he said to me. And I'm like, is there anything else? He's like, I guess, but I can't really think of what it could be. And I don't know. Who knows? And first of all, I don't think he's going to be healthy enough to play this year. But
how could he be? The injury happened
in October.
End of October.
I don't understand how he's out of
a year injury anyway.
I don't understand how he's out of a boot already. That doesn't make any sense to me. Now, maybe it's because he's an athlete and I'm just a fat guy, but I was in a boot for 4 months after my surgery.
Or some people is in a boot and a cast.
Well, I was in a cast for 2 weeks.
Right.
My man Miles was taking care of me. Miles Simmons, now a big shot in the business. And then I was in a boot for like at least 3 months, maybe 4. I don't remember exactly. And then your muscles atrophy.
Right.
Now, if he has to have surgery again, and I don't know, I'm just throwing this out there because my doctor said this. If he has to have surgery again, I mean, that's then he just went through this. Now his muscles are going to atrophy again. That's a lot of rehab to come back for a guy who's now close to 30. He is not in the shape he once was. But, like, of course the Browns need a quarterback. That's obvious. Whether DeShaun Watson was going to be here or not.
They've got a guy who's just a shell. I mean, he's not a quarterback. He's got no Achilles. He's got no shoulder.
No.
He can't play football.
No, I don't
period.
think he's ever playing again.
He's not going to play. He's not.
Let alone the Browns. I mean, he's not going to play at all.
For him just to get healthy enough to play again would be, I won't say it's a miracle, but I think it's highly unlikely that he'll ever get back to being a highly productive player.
I mean, he hasn't been good since 2020.
Right.
At this point. So now we're all if he doesn't play this year, what? 2026?
It's a presidential term.
It's pre-COVID, man.
Yeah, I mean.
But let me ask this about specifically what Dianna said.
Yeah. Oh, I think she's a little bit just speculating more. Like, there's no way she knows for sure they're taking a quarterback.
No, I think it's speculations, some opinion there. Yeah. I don't think it was a report.
Yeah, I think she's going by the fact that, like, look, you got a top 2 pick.
Yeah, you got a top 2 pick. You need a quarterback. It makes sense. They'll take one. But, again, it always goes back to this whole thing. You can't take a quarterback just because you need one. You got to be sure. I mean, you're never sure, but you got to be in your mind 100% confident that this guy's worthy taking it too. And maybe Sanders is, and maybe Ward is, maybe they're not. That depends on Stefanski, Berry, whoever else is involved. But if they're not that confident, if they're like, well, we got to take a quarterback. If they go into it with, we got to take a quarterback, so let's figure it out, that's a terrible position
I'll tell you this much, though. I mean, Kevin Stefanski has 9 lives here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I do think he deserves to be back. I agree with your flip-flop the other day, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
Good job out of you.
Classic flip-flop.
Classic flip-flop.
All time.
Got more information.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the flip-flop for himself.
Yeah. I love that they threw in the crab.
I was going to say, is that the imitation?
Yeah, I love it. I love that stuff.
We made that a while ago.
It's such a great snack.
Now we need a gamoku.
It's a great snack.
Yeah.
Anywho, I think he deserves to be back. But, like, okay, Stefanski, you're going to be the OC. All right?
Yeah.
You're gonna deal with this quarterback. So who do you want?
Yes, 100%.
Who do you like? If you don't like one of these guys, then don't take one.
Yes.
Because if you do, your job will then be tied to that quarterback.
Or if you don't take one, do you think that there's some part of you that selfishly says, I can buy myself more time with a quarterback? Because, like she said, we'll forgive you if you get a quarterback and get to free agency.
I don't think if they take a quarterback based on Kevin Stefanski's recommendation, and he's a disaster as a rookie, he's going to get fired.
I want this pick.
Yeah,
and it could be the only pick.
Right.
That Kevin Stefanski handpicks.
I agree.
And if they don't take the quarterback, and then his quarterback that they bring in next year is trash too.
We can't worry about that right now. Yes, he could lose his job next year, no doubt. If they have a terrible season next year, he's probably going to get fired.
So I'm looking. If I'm them, I'm like, what's the best opportunity to thread the needle a little bit? Can I get somebody that can help me now? Can I get some? To me, I think they have to come away with at least one quarterback. Somewhere in this draft. In this draft.
All right.
Whether it's second, third, fourth round,
they got to
get a
big
quarterback.
difference. I mean, you take one in the first round at 2 versus taking one of the 4th round.
But like Leroy said, if you do get somebody in the first round, that guy theoretically should help you a lot. Like if you take a non-quarterback.
Oh,
like,
sure.
Hey, if I got Abdul Carter, if I want to take Travis Hunter, if I take one of those guys, those guys can play right now, and then I could get me a bridge guy in the 3rd or 4th round that I could try to develop and figure out, not a DTR, but somebody, a Jackson Dart, somebody that you can say, hey, I like this kid, and we're going to develop him.
I personally think that if the Browns don't like the quarterbacks, that they have to trade down. Not too far, but that they got to trade down because they need more draft picks and more draft capital, especially if you're thinking, and you don't know that it's going to work out this way, if you don't take a quarterback at the top of the draft this year, okay, there's a good chance he's not going to be very good next year either way. You want more ammunition to maybe trade up next year because there may be better quarterback talent in next year's draft. We don't know that for sure at this point.
Yeah, I tend to think that's the way you go about this whole thing.
Trading down.
Yes.
And the teams, you think about it, you got the Giants at 3, the Raiders at 6, I think, the Jets at 7, and the Saints at 9. Those teams all, I don't know, but those teams all need quarterbacks. they may like Shedeur or Cam
It just
more
takes
than
one
the
team.
Browns.
Takes one team.
I would say this much: if the Browns are picking between those two,
Yeah.
Cam Ward all day. To me, it's not close.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my opinion.
Dustin, you've watched more college football than all of us.
I mean,
what is the thing with Cam Ward that you like? Or like more than Shedeur, I guess is the way to phrase it.
Honestly, I think I like his mobility more than Shedeur, and I also think that the Cam is. There's something about his game that's just electrifying that I think is going to translate to this level, the next level here in the NFL, and I think he can be a special player. But I don't see it out of Shedeur. I could be totally wrong. There is part of the Dion thing that makes me a little worried. Does he want to be in Cleveland? So maybe I'm clouded by that.
Yeah.
Certainly
And
possible.
he had a terrible offensive line, so maybe,
Certainly possible there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How big is Shedeur? Was he 6'2"?
6'2".
All right, that's big enough.
I think with the quarterbacks, these evaluations that are going to come up, it'll tell you a lot about it. Like, I want to see the workouts. I want to see them on the board. I want to see a lot of different things. I will say, if you're going to trade back, you got to have in mind 5 guys that you want to come away in this draft. You're like, okay, I'm drafting that high. I'm going to name 5 or 4 dudes that I believe are blue chip type guys that are difference makers. And if I'm trading back, I better be in position to get one of them.
Yeah.
So I don't want to trade back too far. Like with the Saints, if the Saints want to trade to get a quarterback, they're going to have to give me an arm and a leg. Because at 9,
yeah, that's a bigger. That's
9, I'm
drop.
outside of the blue chip area.
Yeah.
I need.
Let me ask you guys this real quick before Mike asks his next question. If I asked this to Leroy, but I wanted to ask it to you guys. If they take Travis Hunter, or if you were the GM, you were the coach of the
Browns can't take Travis Hunter.
They can't.
I don't think so.
Why?
Because I don't think he solves any of their problems.
Okay, fair enough.
I think he's great.
Yeah.
I think he's a great player. Don't know where I'd play him. Probably play him on defense, which stinks because you got a guy who scored 10 touchdowns this year.
You wouldn't play him on. I mean, you play him offense a little bit, right?
I think you would have to at some point try to get him the football, get it in his hands.
Yeah.
Returns, maybe some gadget plays here and there, but I think overall he probably, for the longevity of his career, it's probably defense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think the Browns can afford to take a player. I don't want to call him a novelty, but he sort of is, because you don't know where you're going to play him when you have so many holes at big positions, including left tackle.
I play him everywhere. I wouldn't play him 70 snaps a game, but he would be playing. He start defense, and if I got him and Denzel Ward, that's 2 lockdown guys. I mean, that's crazy. Like you're not gonna sign Greg Newsome. You got to think about it like this.
Yeah.
And Greg Newsome will play next year, but you're probably not going to re-sign him. You got Martin Emerson, who had a very terrible year.
Yeah.
So at least now you can make that position of strength even more of a position of strength, because I got a lockdown corner. And you're devoid any talent on the playmakers in terms of wide receiver. You got Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
But you got to have more than Jerry Jeudy. I need a couple more things. Now, look, is he going to play every single snap? No, but I can move him in. I can get him in there at the 3rd receiver, 4th receiver, and play him 25, 30 snaps there. I can get his hands on the football and have him return kicks and do things like that.
Yeah.
The problem is, I think the Browns have always had problems finding ways to get people to football. We complain, we're like, oh, you didn't get Odell Beckham the ball. We complain that we never saw Chubb and Hunt in the backfield at the same time. They have a problem when it comes to finding ways to, like, look, if he goes to Kansas City, we're like, or he goes to different teams like that, we're gonna be salty because they're gonna find a way to get him the ball, and he's gonna be a monster. My thing is, we always tell ourselves, pick the best available talent, no matter what the position is. Yeah. To me, he's the best player of college football.
Was this Emerson's 3rd year, Mike?
Martin's?
Yeah.
Third
So next year is the last year for both Newsome and Emerson.
correct.
Because he wasn't a first-round pick. So in theory, if you drafted Travis Hunter, you could let both Newsome and Emerson walk at the end of next year.
You can move, in theory, you could move down and possibly still get Travis Hunter.
It is possible. I think Dustin's right. I don't think they'll draft him. I think they'll draft.
They're not in a position to draft a luxury, man.
I think if they don't want a quarterback, they're going to end up at 6, 7, or 9, trading with either the Saints, Jets, or Raiders. Especially if it's Shedeur. I mean, if Cam Ward goes first, there's been obviously a lot of connection between the Raiders and Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
So we'll see. What do you
I
got,
have
Mike?
one question. This
Yeah.
is random spin-off thought as G was mentioning the board work and stuff, and I have no idea. I'm genuinely asking absolutely no idea. Shedeur's played for his father in high school and all throughout college. Cam Ward played at three different colleges.
3 Incarnate Ward,
and,
Washington State, and Miami.
And he played at high school, so 4 different terminologies. Do you think that helps, hinders? What does it matter when it comes to like board work, G and Dustin, if you've played in the same system essentially your entire football life, being in Dion's terminology and all that, as opposed to a guy like Cam who shuffled around in so many different systems?
Well, they were just talking about that in on one of these college games. They had a nice graphic. They were talking about how some of the guys in the pros, like Bo Nix is a good example, who spent a lot of time at multiple schools, learning terminology, being able to deal with different people. They thought that may have helped him. So both Shedeur and Cam have similar situations where they have been. Now Shedeur, same
with
with
Dion,
his dad in
Yeah.
both places, so similar coaching philosophies. But for Cam, I mean, I think every place he's been, it's been a little different too. I mean, he was in a much more spread situation at Incarnate Ward and then at Wazoo, and then he goes to Miami. It became a little bit more pro style than he had ran in the past, where they slowed things down a little bit. So I don't know. I think Cam Ward to me has the most upside and it is the most ready for this level.
How big is Cam Ward? He's really big, right?
No, they're pretty similar size. He's
Oh,
thicker
okay.
than Shedeur, but height-wise,
Yeah, he is a
similar.
thicker dude. He does look bigger in his pads.
What
than
is the
Shedeur.
downside with him, by the way?
Him?
Yeah.
I think everyone's just talking about how he quit at halftime, and I don't even like that term.
No, I think the downside is
Yeah.
he looks very calm. He likes to play out of structure. He likes. I'll put a play in tag board. And
He plays
you'll
some
see
street
what I'm talking
ball. He plays
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
street ball, and it makes people nervous.
I think in terms of the question you asked about with Shedeur, and I think he'll be able to speak to it on the board a lot easier because the last 2 years he's had Pat Shurmur. So Pat Shurmur, they brought in Pat Shurmur, and then last year he's been his offensive coordinator all this year. Pat talked about, listen, if you want to, Pat Shurmur has not been a great head coach, and he's been fired twice. But if you want to talk about offensive football and the concepts that they're going to ask you to have, I think, Shedeur will be ready for that. I think he's played a lot of football.
I'm sorry to cut you off, G. I just think it's funny because we were already thinking, like, is Dion going to want his son to play for the Browns? And I forgot about the Pat Shurmur part of this. Pat Shurmur doesn't have good feelings about Cleveland
I'm
either.
sure.
And you know what?
Not Cleveland, the owner.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
I think, to be honest with you, I just think, and I've said this from Jump Street, I just don't think, like, it's a good mix. Like, the way people mentally are locked in with this quarterback situation, like, you're just bringing, even some of the stuff I hear before he even got here. Like, you're going to have some people that already have locked it in their mind, oh, he's a diva. He don't really want to be here. His dad is prime. Like, they already start. Look, I say this all the time, and y'all can be. Ohio is a very conservative-minded state, and I'm not talking politics. I'm talking about conservative-minded in what they want to see. Like, it's very hand the ball back to the ref. It's. I don't want to see nothing. I want you to be cut, dry, play football. That's it. I don't want you wearing no different colors. I don't want you to be talking too much. They want you a specific type way, clean cut, cookie cutter. Sometimes that don't work for people. Like I can give you case after case in scenarios. Heck, even if Myles Garrett get he start talking too much. People start being like, "Oh, you don't show up in games."
I think there is some truth to that. But I think the bigger deal is if you win, fans don't care.
But no.
Yes, if you're more showboaty, fans are going to jump off your bandwagon quicker the second you start to not win.
People be here, shut up and be football. That's it. Like, even if Myles Garrett is great, if he says two things that are like, oh, you don't show up in third quarter, TJ Watt is better than you. They do it all the time.
I don't think there's a lot of Browns fans that think TJ Watt is better than Myles Garrett.
Well, that's always in their back pocket. You know what I mean? So the last time when Myles Garrett said, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to decide what I'm going to do after the year." It starts immediately on Twitter. Oh my gosh, Miles! Listen, he's part of the problem too. No. He's not part of the problem.
Yeah.
He's
I
not.
don't know. I feel like there's a lot more people that said, I don't blame him, then he's part of the problem.
I feel like there's more people, I agree with you, that
Yeah.
have said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
That they don't blame Myles Garrett at all.
Poll the audience. If you say, give me Shedeur Sanders, they won't even, the first thing they're going to bring up is, it is not the football aspect.
What do you want to ask, G, the question? Would you take Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland? Or do you want Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland? What do you want to ask?
Yeah, you want Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. Just ask that. That's it. I guarantee it's 60%.
You're always going to have a percentage of the fan base that doesn't like whatever in every fan base. Yes, is Ohio, in terms of the way we like football, a little more conservative than other places? I agree with you. But ultimately, it's hard to know for sure because the Browns have done so much losing that people are like, people are too. I've heard our old buddy Nick Fink, Dustin. You know Nick too, right?
Yeah.
Nick is Nick is wild on Twitter. I'll give him credit. He says some of the craziest crap.
He believes it though.
He believes all this insane stuff he says. I saw him tweet the other day, and he goes, 60% of Browns fans want the team to be bad, which is absurd. Nobody wants the team to be bad. It's just there's all this negative talk. Well, why is there so? And it's like whenever the Browns are bad, we get accused, especially me, because I'm not from here, gets accused, oh, you're too negative, you hate the team, blah, blah, blah. When the team sucks year after year after year after year, it's going to feel like every talk is negative because what are we supposed to say? The team sucks. When you're good, you care less about those things. When Chad Johnson, Cincinnati's probably even more conservative, certainly more conservative than Cleveland. When Chad Johnson was great, nobody, not that I spend time in Cincinnati, everybody loved him. The second he stopped being great, let's move on. And so, yes, there is a level of that, but ultimately, if Shedeur Sanders came here and was fantastic, people would love him.
Yeah, but
at a large percentage.
But you have to get to that point.
You're right, and people are going to be less. And I do think our fan base may be less patient with a flashy player, if you will, than they will be with a more traditional. That's why people love Nick Chubb.
Man,
he does nothing flashy.
I remember. Like, they had a whole like 5-minute conversation on the nightly news because Jarvis and Odell Beckham had different shoes on. He has those clown
nightly news.
The night 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Odell Beckham has these clown shoes on. Can you believe it?
But here's the thing: if Odell
he wore the watch too, remember?
The watch. Oh my God!
But gee, you know what? If Odell had played like he did his first 3 years in the league, nobody would have
defended it.
No, but here's the crazy thing about it is, you know, Odell had 1,000 yards, right?
That doesn't mean it.
So
1,000 yards.
See them posts?
No.
See them posts?
1,000 yards.
You know, Jarvis Landry had 1,000 yards that year too, right?
Nobody said anything bad about Jarvis Landry.
Listen,
Jarvis Landry, 1,000 yards is fine. Odell Beckham was brought in to be a superstar. He never played anywhere close to that.
But here's what I'm saying to you. There are people that as soon as he got here was not feeling him.
You're right. But
because here's the thing, Bull.
Yeah.
And we know this. We got guys that got drafted by Michigan and Browns fans hated them.
Yeah.
Because they're Ohio State fans.
I hear you, but like Dustin and I basically got Odell Beckham traded to Cleveland. We were banging the table for it for months.
Put it in the universe. It came to
And when
fruition.
it happened, most of the fans that called us were loving it. Everybody was excited. And then he played like crap. Now, when he had 1,000 yards, okay, he was decent. Let's face it. With 16 games, and certainly now at 17 games, 1,000 yards doesn't mean what it used to mean.
65 yards a game.
1,200 yards is the new 1,000 yards.
Hey, man.
Odell was a huge disappointment here, and that's why the majority of people soured on him. Yes, there's an element that don't like the flash. I get it. But if Odell had put up Josh Gordon was a disaster. That year, everybody loved Josh Gordon.
1,300 yards receiving.
More than that, he's
1,600.
Excuse me. In 14 games with terrible quarterbacks.
That's insane, dude.
He has 1,600. The reality of it is this.
We're all wrong.
When you go to the audience and you see how many people don't want Shedeur Sanders.
Gee, your poll results. Over 200 votes, 75% don't want him.
There you go.
It's been up for 3 minutes, and that's
G-Boss, I said 60 and 75.
Right,
there you go.
There's probably a decent amount of those people that just don't, for whatever reason, think he's good enough. and then it's not because he's Deion Sanders' son. I'm sure there's a percentage that don't want him for that reason.
But it's all wrapped up in one, right? It's wrapped up in one ball.
Yes.
And I've been saying, I'll stay consistent to it, right? Listen, if you come away from, here's what I learned. When DeShaun Watson, when people were saying why he ain't on the field, and they had that whole thing about what the heck he was eating pasta, and that was the wildest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's
because he sucks.
No. Listen,
No, it's 100%.
No, listen, that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna sit here, you talking about, it's not about just because it sucks. Like, they want, when people see that, they be like, go away, I don't want to see you.
If DeShaun Watson had played quarterback all last year and had won 12 games and had played great, been sensational, gone to the playoffs, and then this year got off to a great start, had 15 touchdowns and 2 picks, and got hurt, and then he was having dinner, nobody would have said boo.
But here's the
nobody.
thing. But it's not about the winning. Having dinner has nothing about winning. But you got to understand. So for me, I care about winning so much that I don't care if you bungee jump during the middle of the season.
Well, you don't. Just because you don't, it does. People are angry that he sucked here.
So here's the thing.
And they're mad. That's why.
But here's the thing. Yeah. Even when you play well.
Yeah.
We still talk about things like this.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett needs to go to training camp.
Who talks about that?
We talked about it
on the show.
Jason Lloyd talks about it.
It was a conversation.
No. People say this. I'm just giving.
Nobody's making a big deal about that.
Listen. We had the conversation.
Yeah. And they'd have the same conversation about any other player in any other
conversations about guys that aren't even on the roster during training camp.
I talked about. So here's the thing. I'm never going to say anything about. It's this.
Yeah.
People have an old school mentality in the state of Ohio where it's very rigid on old school principles.
Okay.
You're the leader. You have to be at practice. I'm like, no, it's Myles Garrett. He's the best player on the team. Show up during the season and get these sacks.
I can't imagine there's more than a few people that really were really bothered by it. It's a conversation because we're talking. There's different things we're talking about. And by the way, let me tell you something else. For all you want to say that Ohio's conservative, okay, New York's not conservative. Is that fair to say?
No, New York is different.
Okay, I'll tell you that
y'all kill everybody.
If DeShaun Watson had the same career here that he had for the Jets or the Giants, he'd be getting way worse.
But no, I'll go to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers.
Jets fans hate Aaron Rodgers.
I get it.
Everyone hates Aaron Rodgers.
But what I'm saying to you is, this is the way I think.
Yeah,
I don't care nothing about Aaron Rodgers being in no dark rooms. I care about whether or not you throw touchdown passes.
That's you.
But I'm saying,
and fair or not, people are going to care about the other things if you suck.
That's dumb.
Okay, that's your opinion, and I do
It's
agree
stupid.
with you. I agree with you.
It's
like
dumb.
What guys do off the field, as long as it doesn't negatively affect them on the field, shouldn't matter. But that's just the nature of human beings.
I don't care if who Aaron Rodgers voted for. I don't care about his vax status, and I don't care who he dates. If you throw these touchdown passes, we all good. I'm never going to be on nowhere talking about how crazy Aaron Rodgers is. No, that's just me.
All right, that's a little different. But in the end, what Aaron Rodgers does off the field shouldn't matter what you think of him as a fan. But if you suck, it's going to matter. If Aaron Rodgers had been great this year, the liberal city of New York would not have cared about any of that stuff. And the same thing, if DeShaun Watson had been great here, we wouldn't hear about anything off the field except for a small minority of people.